You know we're getting late into the Famicom's lifespan when we're waving goodbye to what were once major genres. Akagawa Jirou no幽霊 Ressha is, as far as I can tell, the last Famicom mystery adventure. There's still a handful of other adventure games, including one rather infamous one, but it was Portopia Satsujin Jikan that kicked off adventure games on the Famicom, and a lot of the adventure games that followed it copied it and made mystery adventures. So does the genre go out with a bang? Well, Yuurei Ressha is one of the best Famicom adventure games out there. The titular Akagawa Jirou is a mystery novelist, and his best-known series, which just had an entry released in June of 2022, are the Ghost Mysteries. They involve strange disappearances, and are about Uno and Yuko, a police detective and a woman who loves mysteries and so inserts herself into his investigations. Yuurei Ressha was the first novel in this series, and as a result it's been adapted multiple times into many different formats. Yuurei Ressha is also the last Famicom game published by King Records. If you're not familiar with them, they only published 2 other things, and the previous one was Jesus Kyofu no Biomonster, which was 2 years before this. Considering they averaged 21 months between releases, they might be the slowest publisher on the Famicom. The plot of Yuurei Ressha is that a train departs with 8 passengers on board, and arrives with none of them. It's become a ghost train. Police detective Uno is brought in to solve the case, and as he starts to poke around a hotel where some of the people stayed, he encounters Yuko, a college student who also has decided to get to the bottom of things. The 2 of them join forces for the investigation. The most notable thing in Yuurei Ressha is the art. This is the only video game that Watase Seizo did graphical design for. He's someone who hasn't made a lot of waves outside of Japan, but in Japan he's very well known for his romance comics and as an illustrator of romantic scenes. In the game Yuurei Ressha, you can see these big characters walking around the scenes. Unfortunately, because it's on the Famicom, they're the only thing that can move around the scene, and it winds up being more of a gimmick than anything else. You'll go into a conversation with someone if you walk up to them, but it's not like you explore the environment or search the area for clues. To do that, you just hit the A button to bring up a familiar menu. Here you can choose to search or go to another location, and as an additional command, you can consult with Yuko. She'll often have some helpful insight. There's also an option to examine a particular point on the screen, but you really only use it a couple of times and it's really obvious when you need to. When you walk up to someone, you have all of your conversational interactions, like inquiring about a particular topic or showing them a piece of evidence that you've collected. A little bit of exploring will uncover a location that probably has something to do with how the people disappeared, but as you close in, people in town start dying too. Yuurei Ressha doesn't seem to have made much of a splash when it was released. It's become a bit of a rare Famicom game. However, in the past few years, it seems to have picked up a minor following. And by past few years, I mean like the past 3. I found plenty of people mentioning playing it recently, and it's gone from a 1,000 yen game to one that will cost you over 5,000 yen. I kinda get it, too. It's very short and very easy, even for a mystery game, and the walking around interface is kind of slow and clunky. But if you're just approaching it now, it's a good-looking game, and the mystery is a lot more interesting than what you saw in most Famicom games. The dead bodies don't start showing up until 2/3 of the way through the game. So the game is more of a howdunit than a whodunit. How did those 8 people vanish from a moving train? I actually had to stop myself from playing this one slowly. I just don't have enough recording time after all. And this is one of the rare mysteries here where I think I'd like to go back to it and play it properly. Before I wrap up, since we're closing out the mystery adventure genre, where does it go from here? Well, it's actually kind of on the way out. It never vanishes entirely, but the adventure game genre is shifting away from mysteries. Science fiction and comedy seem to rule the genre as of 1991, and the days of this kind of menu-driven adventure game are numbered. In just over a year, the people who killed off the text parser-driven adventure game and replaced it with this kind of menu game are going to flip the table and do it again. But I'll talk about that when adventure games end altogether on the Famicom.